A daily word from God for reflection. In each age, when working among people, God gives them some words and reveals certain truths. These truths are the path that people need to follow, the way they should walk, and also the method for them to fear God and shun evil. These are the things that people need to practice in their daily lives and throughout their journey. God reveals these words to people with the purpose that they may live by them. Following these words means that people receive life. If people do not follow and practice them, if they do not live according to God's words, then they are not practicing the truth. If they do not practice the truth, then they cannot fear God, nor can they shun evil, and they certainly will not please God. Those who cannot please God will not receive His approval, and their outcome will not be good. During the course of His work, how does God determine a person's outcome? What method does He use to determine their outcome? Perhaps the answer to this is still vague for some, but when I explain it, it will become clearer, as many of you have experienced these things. From the very beginning of His work, God has arranged various trials for all who follow Him. These trials can come in many different forms. Some people face the trial of being rejected by their families. Some face adverse environments or are arrested and tortured. Some face trials involving money and status or difficult choices. All of you have faced different trials. Why does God arrange this? What outcome is He seeking? What I want to convey is that God wants to see whether people fear Him and shun evil. When God gives a trial, He wants to see people's choices and attitudes in that situation. He will observe how they think and act to evaluate whether they meet His standards. When faced with trials, people often don't realize that they are arranged by God, nor do they know what He wants from them. Instead, they just think they need to be cautious. However, following God's way is not just about obeying outward rules. It requires people to recognize trials as opportunities that God gives them to live according to His standards. And this is directly related to fearing Him and shunning evil. Sometimes people think that small matters are not important enough to require them to follow the truth. However, every trial, no matter how big or small, is an opportunity to test their fear of God. If people don't pay attention to these trials, they will miss the chance to improve themselves. When people continually reject God's trials, He will reject them. The word reject here means that God despises and abandons them because they do not follow His way. The method God uses to determine a person's outcome is by giving them various trials to see if they fear Him and shun evil. Everyone faces these trials, and God is fair to all. Some people think they haven't experienced any trials, but the truth is that they missed the opportunities that God gave them because they didn't pay attention to them. The standard that God uses to measure people is whether they fear Him and shun evil in everything they do. This may sound simple, but it is not easy to practice, as human nature is not inclined to fear God and tends to love evil. Although we understand the concept of fearing God and shunning evil theoretically, truly putting it into practice is a long process that requires refinement through God's trials and judgment. The final outcome of these trials will show whether people live according to God's standards, and from this, God will determine their fate. Thank you all for taking the time to watch the video and listen to my sharing. If you found the content helpful, don't forget to hit the like button to show your support. And please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of the latest videos. Your support is a great motivation for me to continue delivering valuable content. Thank you, and see you in the next videos.